It's good to have you join us on NTA Nationwide. My name is Ogoni Paul, and it's glad to be back on the beat. Now let's begin by telling you that the Supreme Court has dismissed the People's Democratic Party appeal challenging the election of Godwin Obaseki of the All Progressives Congress as the duly elected governor of Edo State. A 7-man panel led by Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Walter Onongen, gave the unanimous judgment, affirming the earlier rulings by both the tribunal and the appeal court. The PDP petition, it says, lacks merit and cannot be sustained in law. The court has reserved the 24th of July 2017 for reasons for the judgment. Now, residents of Hai community in Tafa local government area of Niger State are still counting their losses following the downpour which resulted into flooding. Victor Azo visited the village located over Abuja Kaduna Expressway and now reports.
Of Hai community in Tafa local government of Niger State, an early morning shower would have passed for a Sunday blessing, except that this time it turned out to be too much for them to handle. They were jolted from their sleep by the effects of the torrential rainfall which began in the wee hours of Sunday and continued for hours, leaving behind a trail of destruction and agony. Among the victims of the flood rage was Jibril, a resident of Hai who had been swept by the flood through the tunnel and across the Kaduna-Abuja Expressway. Fate smiled on him as the community rallied round to rescue him. He was third time lucky, as he was said to have lost the battle to cling onto any lifeline a couple of times earlier as the floods raged on.
The water started from up, and the boy from there, the way come, the boy fall into the water. From there, the water carrying full under bridge here. When they reach there, I hang on top of tree. There's another person there. From there, where they will try to remove the other one, another one hangs up. From there, with about 4 group. When you reach there, we now lay rope from this side to the river. The other is good from the rope, cross the river, come out.
These two expressway, Abuja, Kaduna, Kano Expressway, along the way is only bus culvert here. Where the water is bus culvert, and what we need here is bridge, because we have dam across. If we have rainfall like this, the dam will fill up, and when it add with the water, then the bus culvert will not enable the water to pass. Then it will now bounce to the community.
Getting him to the road was not easy, as the terrain is steep. For me, it was a wrong day to be clad in white, but as a reporter, the job had to be done. An ambulance from the National Emergency Management Agency was waiting to receive Jibril, who was not only weak but traumatized, having passed through a life and death situation. Residents say that some of their folks are still trapped in the submerged houses. They cannot come out and no one can go in to rescue them. NTA News also.
Meanwhile, the current flooding of the country has been attributed to lack of adequate preparation and poor drainage across the country. Guests of Good Morning Nigeria, while discussing the ravaging effects of the flood, say it is ironic that in spite of forecast, people did not take measures to avert the fallout of the flooding. Latest times and reports.
Who emphasize that flood can mess up every human activity extending to loss of lives are of the view that the ravaging effect could have been minimized or even prevented. They believe that if citizens uphold the responsibility of waste management, they will not be found wanting in the blocking of already narrow drainages with waste.
We should have had some wetlands, which is supposed to be a buffer for flood waters. Now, being the case now, of course, with this kind of increased precipitation and sea rise, it will definitely cause so much havoc.
I mean, the ice in the North Pole and the Antarctica, they're all melting and increasing the volume of water in the ocean. No matter how you want to deny it, the reality comes to people here. If you can deny climate change, we are seeing the impact.
Another compounding issue, the guests say, is climate change. They stress the need to return to the drawing board for proactive drainage designs that will not only withstand the storm but allow for free flow of flood water. To this effect, they call for synergy between relevant agencies for collective action in view of the anticipation of more rains. They also suggested the need to interface with international organizations to imbibe global best practices as well as sensitize the public. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
Away from flooding matters now to the economy, as an agreement to build the capacity of West African financial players to combat money laundering and some other financial crimes within the sub-region has again been signed in Abuja. Kolo Mohammed was there and now reports.
A signing, a handshake, and the deal for a united and coordinated effort to build capacity of players in financial sector in West Africa is sealed. Money laundering has been identified as a major threat to financial stability in any economy, especially the small and fragile economies in the West African sub-region. It is said to be used to finance other crimes such as human, drug, and arms trafficking.
Upgrade their skills in detecting, tracking, and combating money laundering.
But it also enables those who work in the central banks, those who work in the ministries of finance, and those who work in other financial institutions, plus those who support those kinds of ministries and departments, to be able to have the necessary critical skills to manage the economy better.
With this event, countries and institutions in the region are expected to be better informed and professionally equipped to recognize, trace, and combat financial crimes.
I know countries have been making effort in combating money laundering and financial crime. Since it's a West African thing, I intend to take the shared knowledge with other African countries, the efforts they're making, and then the regulation, the policy, how to improve our own regulation and policy.
Perhaps it is the importance attached to this issue that is responsible for the laudable participation and representation of countries in the sub-region as witnessed. In Abuja, Kolo Mohammed, NTA News.
Involving the private sector in financing of public infrastructure across the country is key to achieving the desired national development. This was a submission of experts at Lagos Infrastructure Forum. Do India has the details.
With the rising population of over 170 million people, providing sustainable and sufficient infrastructure is one task that is key in the agenda of the federal government. Unfortunately, the present economic realities of the shortfall in the revenue generation has continued to affect the expansion of various projects embarked upon by the federal government. That is why experts are calling on state governments across the country to take a cue from Lagos State, which has continuous expansion of projects, most of which are funded by private investors.
Areas are being discovered for which government can take money and develop the nation for the people.
Other areas of consideration, according to experts, is the need for thorough evaluation of risk management in infrastructural development as well as alternative infrastructure financing solutions.
And so it's very important for us as professionals to see where we can contribute to this development of infrastructure in this country.
So we want an improved mobility system for our roads. And that's going to impact on the economy, which also is going to impact, have effect on the citizenry.
The forum was attended by top government officials and other stakeholders in project development and quantity surveying. In Lagos, Doyin Dia, NT News.
The unanimous adoption of President Muhammadu Buhari by the 29th Africa Union Summit to champion the next summit's theme on anti-corruption has been described as a plus for Nigeria. Guests on Good Morning Nigeria described the development as a validation of the president's position that corruption must be defeated by all. Lydia Sampson reports.
President Muhammadu Buhari has never hidden his disdain for corruption and continues to make the fight against it a cardinal goal of his administration. The recognition of his efforts by African leaders, according to the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Geoffrey Onyema, and other guests, is therefore not surprising.
He's acknowledged to have really taken the issue of corruption or anti-corruption onto the global agenda. Nigeria was also successful in getting a UN resolution passed on the illicit flow of funds. So there again, getting the international community really engaged in the whole issue of corruption.
The guests are unanimous that corruption is responsible for underdevelopment of Africa and that the time had come for leaders to take action. They agree that there is no better person to lead the continental campaign than President Muhammadu Buhari.
But yes, somebody can do something that is immoral, but not corruption. But we have it all rolled into one here. And that is why I feel the election of President Buhari to lead the campaign is a big omen for us.
They also affirm that creating strong institutions and building synergy will be needed to make a success of the campaign.
Africa has come to recognize as a body that corruption is a fight worth fighting because of the established relationship between that problem and our undeserved or justified underdevelopment.
What this actually means for me is that the implication is that African governments, if they want to fight, if they really want to fight corruption at the continental level, must begin to surrender part of their sovereignty.
The present crop of African leaders, they say, must henceforth speak with one voice and present a common front on global issues, including the return of stolen African assets stashed away abroad. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
Former President Olusegun Obasanjo says unity and oneness of Nigeria cannot be compromised under the guise of sectional agitations for the breakup of the country. Chief Obasanjo said this at the Palace of Olu of Warri, His Royal Majesty Ogami Kawali, while on a courtesy call in Delta State. Mohammed Abdul Kadir has the report.
And not war.
Whoever has seen the devastation of war, the destruction of war, the mindlessness of war, will never want to see war again.
The former president identified good governance as panacea to gangsterism, terrorism, and vandalism in parts of the country.
Former President Olusegun Obasanjo said nothing is wrong with Nigerians, but a lot is wrong with Nigerians who must change their mindset and mentality in calling for dismemberment of Nigeria, which he said is uncalled for. Adding that the greatness of Nigeria is in its diversity. From the Olu of Warri's Palace in Delta State, Mohammed Abdul Kadri, NTA News.
Wife of the president, Aisha Muhammadu Buhari, has charged women in Dawa to always support and promote federal government programs geared towards improving the lot of women in the country. This was at the 12th annual conference of women in Dawa from the 19th northern states held in Bauchi. Adamu Haruna Adams has the report.
The conference, which drew participants from the 19 northern states, has as theme, in any difficulty or hardship, there is a way out. Scholars took their turn to deliver lectures on issues that have to do with the plight of the Nigerian Muslims and the Nigerian society at large. Wife of the president, who served as the special guest, represented by the wife of the Bauchi State Governor, Hajia Hadiza Abubakar, commended the women in Da'awa for their giant stride in contributing to the federal government efforts at restoring societal values and ensuring attitudinal change in society. She also assured them of support at all times.
Programs that are initiated and will continue to initiate in the future and continue
Father of the day, Sultan Muhammad Saad Abubakar III, represented by the Emir of Bauchi, Alhaji Rilwan Suleiman Adamu, called on government at all levels to remodel school curriculum to reflect the teachings of the major religions in the country. In Bauchi, Adamu Haruna Adams, NTN News.
Deputy Governor of Benue State has called on farmers to take advantage of the National Home Feeding Program to increase production, as there is already a market to map up their farm produce. He said this while officially flagging off the school feeding program at the LGEA Primary School, Urukum, Makurdi.
The National Homegrown School Feeding Program is one of the federal government's social intervention initiative aimed at providing one nutritious free meal a day to all pupils in public primary schools across Nigeria. The program, which targets about 5.5 million pupils, seeks to increase school enrollment, retention, improve the nutritional well-being of the pupils, as well as empower local women as cooks. The Benue State Deputy Governor Benson Abonu, while flagging off the school feeding program, alongside the wife of the governor, said the initiative will stimulate the local economy through massive agricultural production and consumption.
The state government has also sponsored the training and certification of all the cooks on food safety and hygiene at the Benue State University through the Center for Food Technology and Research.
The wife of the Benue State Governor, Dr. Eunice Utom, at the kickoff of the pilot scheme of the homegrown school feeding program, fed the pupils. A total number of 3,344 cooks have been recruited to feed a total of 240,827 pupils in the first phase of implementation. In Makurdi, Comfort Amadou, NTA News.
Let's join Enugu now, as the government there has awarded scholarship to 300 undergraduates. Beauty is there for these stories and more. Hello, Beauty. It's good to see
you. Perfect afternoon to you, Paul, and a very warm welcome to Enugu Network Center. Southeast and South governors have resolved to foster inter-regional integration and cooperation for the economic development of the two zones. The governors who met in Enugu also agreed to politically work together and realign themselves as a people that share common heritage. Ijoma Ogweki will tell us more.
The forum availed opportunity for the governors to brainstorm and lay out an economic pathway that will address the infrastructure, socio-economic and security challenges in the two zones. Governor Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi, while addressing the governors, informed them on the outcome of the meeting with the Southeast leaders concerning the state of the nation, particularly as it affects the people of the Southeast. He said the zone supports a united Nigeria where peace, fairness and equity of opportunities are paramount.
Through inter-regional cooperation, we are able to speak with one voice and command greater political capital.
The meeting, which is a follow-up to the previous meeting of the Southeast governors and key players from the zone, has 9 governors from the two zones in attendance. The meeting rose with a communique on issues reviewed, especially as it bordered on the state of the nation.
To politically work together and realign as a people that share common heritage, culture, and affinities.
The forum appointed the governor of Akwa Ibom, Udom Emmanuel Udom, as interim chairman. In Enugu, Ijeoma Ogweki, NTA News.
Imo State Governor Rochas Okorocha has advocated the need for the federal government to allow the state to be drivers of federal government empowerment programs. Governor Rochas made the statement when he played host to the senior special advisor to the president on job creation, Mr. Afolabi Imohwede. Sele Osayende has details of that report.
Fulfillment of the president's electionary promises to empower youths. The empowerment program is for graduates and non-graduates. Governor Okorocha says Imo State has a similar program named Youth Must Work, and as such, the state should be allowed to partner with federal government to yield more positive results. The governor says further that if the program is localized, it will give the state government the opportunity to monitor beneficiaries and ensure their efficiency.
When you brought them to the internet, they see themselves as only answerable to the federal government. And you might be surprised, you go to work, you will not see 70% of them nationwide. So if you visit the site, you don't see them. It's as a result of that understanding that this is another federal government like yes.
The Senior Special Advisor to the President on Job Creation, Apolopi Imokwede, briefed the governor on the state's progress. He says 45,798 Imo origins applied for jobs.
Beneficiaries should be able to run their applications without any fear or favor and without having to know anyone.
Selo Sande, NTA News.
300 undergraduates from Enugu State are to benefit from the state government's scholarship scheme scheduled to commence from September 2017. Commissioner for Information, Dr. Godwin Uduhele, made the statement while briefing journalists on the outcome of the State Executive Council meeting. Ijoma Agweke has details.
Naira was approved to finance the 2017-2018 academic section. The beneficiaries, he said, must be in their second year in institutions of higher learning within the country. Courses approved for the scholarship are all courses under science and technology, medical sciences, environmental sciences, mathematics, agricultural sciences, and special education courses.
The advertisement of this was done some time ago, and out of the advertisement, 2,704 applicants did apply, and out of the whole number, 300 were being selected.
Also approved is the employment of 10 more resident doctors for ESU Teaching Hospital, Park Lane, to get the required number needed to meet up with the challenges in some specialties in the teaching hospital. The State Executive Council also approved the commencement of tree planting by Enugu State indigenes in diaspora. This project, Dr. Duhele said, will contribute to the beautification of the city, as the first phase of the project will start with the planting of 1,000 seedlings at different locations in Enugu, Ijomu, Gweke, NTA News.
The Director Training, NTA Headquarters, Abuja, Halima Bewell, has re-emphasized the need for staff to have the requisite knowledge of digitization to enable them to perform optimally ahead of the migration from analog to digital broadcasting. The Director Training re-emphasized this at the opening of a workshop for some staff of NTA stations on the Enugu Network Center. It's given to all members of the International Telecommunications Union to migrate from analog to digital transmission. NTA is repositioning its staff for effective service delivery as it takes steps to meet the mandate. The Director of Trading, NTA Headquarters, Halima Bewell, said it is important for operatives in the industry to have adequate knowledge of digitization, which is the new trend in TV broadcasting.
Training is very important. If we don't come and tell you, the truth is that not many of us know anything about this transition.
The head of Information Technology Units, NTA Headquarters, Samuel Alude, and the Director of Engineering Services, Zakios Ali, said the sensitization workshop is necessary as analog operation completely differs from that of digital. They said in the world of digital transmission, which is very competitive, content is king.
NTA was actually projected to start this new GTT.
The Zonal Director, NTA Enugu Network Center, Mr. Leye Winyude, said NTA places premium on the training and retraining of its staff. He urged the participants to take the lectures seriously.
We have to think through and outside of the box. We're no longer limited to the kind of analog thing that we're doing time fast.
It is the 8th in the series of training of staff by NTA Headquarters since the process of digitization commenced in Enugu. Beauty Robame, NTA News. We don't hear Paul is back to you in Abuja for the continuation of Nationwide.
Thank you, Beauty. This is to remind you that you can watch this news live online via the NTA mobile app, which you can download on your Android device, at the Google Play Store, at the Apple Store if you use devices with iOS. Let's now pause for some messages. Nationwide returns presently.
From what we have seen, we have the capacity which we can rapidly develop or feed in ourselves. If we don't import rice, we stop importing corn and other grains, Nigeria will have plenty of money to invest into developing industries, especially manufacturing, textiles and so on, and develop iron and steel, and complement the infrastructure development. So really, the opportunities are virtually limitless, and we are very, very aware of this, and we are prepared to exploit it to the fullest.
Nigeria's central stage in championing the fight against corruption, as endorsed by the African Union, is the focus on NTA Tuesday Live this week. NTA Tuesday Live, incisive, educative, and informative. Join us.
NTA Television College Jaws, an affiliate of Ahmadu Bello University Zaria, is again organizing 4-week short courses in the following areas: intermediate television presentation techniques and basic camera operations, date 17th July to 11th August 2017, and intermediate television journalism, date 14th August to 8th September 2017. Venue for all courses will be at the college premises, NTA Television College, Refi Jaws. Course fee 100,000 naira per participant, accommodation inclusive. The courses have been designed to put participant on the professional broadcast track for both studio and location camera operations, exposing TV presenters on how to develop their own unique on-screen presence and persona, learning how to break down the script to bring words to life, and to improve journalist writing skills, English and grammar, learning excellent interviewing skills with critical thinking. If you have a knack for TV broadcasting, then don't miss this opportunity. NTA Television College, training you to be the best you want to be.
The Future Assured project of the wife of the president, Aisha Muhammad Buhari, is carrying out free medical screening and distribution of food items at various IDP camps while ensuring the economic empowerment of women through training and skill acquisition. In recognition of her efforts, wives of governors have lent their voices and support.
In Kogi State, we feel the impact of Future Assured, especially in women and children.
The Future Assured program of Mrs. Aisha Muhammad Buhari, the wife of the president, has been very assuring and still reassuring in Sokoto State. It has impacted positively in the areas of humanity, especially women and children.
Supports to Future Assured initiative. Email programs@futureassured.org.ng. Future Assured, promoting and protecting the lives of Nigerian women and children.
This is The Place.
This is where you make that bold move.
This is where it all happens.
This is where dreams are made. Join us every Sunday from 6:30 p.m. on NTA and Star Times. Be part of Nigeria's biggest game show event.
Give and take.
Win big. Live your dreams.
The power to win is within.
The masters of the game are coming from different parts of the world.
Are you ready?
Watch 14 of Europe's elite teams battle it out from the 16th to the 31st of July 2017. China, Singapore, and USA will play host to the best footballers on the planet. Don't blink, because you just might miss the exhilarating action. Watch all games live and exclusive on Star Times.
Don't miss it.
Subscribe for 2 months and get 2 weeks free on any bouquet. Star Times. Enjoy digital life.
You're still watching Nationwide. The federal government has maintained its commitment to building a creative industry driven by the private sector for optimal performance and growth. Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, reached this in Lagos at the opening of the Maiden Film Creative Industry Roundtable hosted by the Federal Minister of Information and Culture. Anthony Forson reports.
The Industry Roundtable has participants drawn from the content production sector. The forum is designed to come up with a guide on how to fast-track the main objective of transforming the industry. It is in the light of this that the Information and Culture Minister, Lai Mohammed, says the present administration's intention of supporting and facilitating an enabling environment for the growth of the sector is unwavering.
This administration has no doubt that the plan to transform the creative industry to a creative economy must be driven by the private sector. It therefore stands to reason that with the government providing the necessary enabling environment and the private sector in the driver's seat, the transformation can be realized within a short time.
The roundtable is also expected to highlight international best practices that will attract funding as well as inject cutting-edge ideas.
This roundtable will provide the stakeholders the opportunity to engage in business-focused discussions with a view to initiating enabling private sector-led growth and development of the creative industry. We will dialogue and engage key industry personnel on the business of the creative sector while addressing key issues affecting the sector, such as intellectual property rights, piracy, education, poverty, power supply, security, access to finance, distribution, infrastructure, technical competence, film content, multiple taxation, and multiple level registration.
For now, apart from the partnership with United Nations World Tourism Organization and the proposal with CNN, to kickstart the project, a 13-episode production showcasing Nigeria will be rolled out soon. The Director General, Nigerian Tourism Development Corporation, Folarunsho Koka, said the sector's huge potentials must be explored to the fullest. An overview of the role of the industry in generating the desired revenue was presented by Kene Nkwaru, Managing Director, Film House Cinemas. In Lagos, Anthony Forson, NTA News.
We're still staying with the sector. In April 2016, Jos became the first city in Nigeria to migrate to digital broadcasting. Adebola Brooklyn Sunday is in Plateau State to find out how the people are enjoying the new technology.
This is Jos, the capital city of Plateau State, north central Nigeria, where the pilot scheme of the digital switchover kicked off. Over a year down the line, how steady are the quality of signals being distributed by Integrated Television Services, ITS? Let's go to the city center and find out from some subscribers.
Yeah, I'm very much satisfied with their programs. They are entertaining and educative.
Despite the fact that it's cheap, it also provides, the best quality that is going on out there. So I'm from Imo State actually, so I really wish my people also could get some of these things the government could support in order to make sure that this free TV gets there so that they could enjoy the services that we enjoy here in Jos.
I've actually been enjoying the free TV, not until now that it stopped working because we need to reactivate it. As a student, we don't have like a source of income. So I think if it's free, we'll get more access to it and we'll enjoy it more.
The signal in Jos has been great for the past 1 year, and 1 year has already elapsed, meaning most people around the city will notice that they cannot make or get signals at their set-top boxes at the moment. But what they should do now is to reactivate, and reactivating those boxes costs you just 1,500 naira for a year.
The response of subscribers show that ITS has a wide coverage and the capacity to deliver uninterrupted services seamlessly. In Jos, Adebola, Brooklyn Sunday, NTA News.
Meanwhile, it is not news any longer that Nigeria has commenced its city-by-city switch-on of digital broadcasting. From the pilot exercise in Jos in 2016 to Abuja, now Ilorin is on standby. Cecile Egbele witnessed the inspection by the House Committee on DSO of the state-of-the-art transmission equipment currently undergoing test run by the integrated television services.
Arriving at the ITS Center in Ilorin, the House Committee on Digital Switchover, led by the Deputy Chairman, Honorable Solomon Maring, was received by the board members of the ITS. Inspecting the German technology installed, Road and Shores, one of the world top brands in broadcast transmitters, the legislators appeared satisfied with the level of preparedness, adding that the white paper presented by the Presidential Advisory Committee on Digital Switchover should be revisited to ensure compliance from every player.
We should revisit the white paper. Go through and legislator.
Since 1999, the NTA has relied on German technology Road and Shores for her analog transmitters, which have served every corner of the country seamlessly. This new version, which is a high-tech upgrade, is compact with high power density and minimizes operating costs for terrestrial broadcasting.
If the digital DVD-T can do about 5 channels, this one can do 15. It also gives rooms for SD, HD, and as well ultra-high definition television signals.
Almost all the equipment we're using are German-made equipment, and it can be proven they are the best in the industry. So technologically wise, they are using the best equipment. It may be the most expensive in the market, but we don't want to compromise quality in ITS.
Each city in Nigeria comes with its own geographical peculiarities, which require strategizing to ensure a hitch-free transition.
We have a system integrator that maps our coverage area and design the system for us. So we have as our transmitters the Roads and Shores, digital terrestrial type 2.
Ilorin residents have been sensitized on the impending migration and are eager to reap its numerous benefits.
It means that information is going to be readily available more than before.
There's a better picture when you're watching a digital view.
That with less than 2,000 naira, you can buy a decoder and you have free access to quite a number of stations without any subscription.
There is joy and excitement here in Kwara State, and the people are expectant of the coming change. Since the community office of His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Kwara State, Alhaji Abdul Fattah Ahmed, there's been remarkable progress and changes in the broadcast ecosystem in this state. Broadcast facilities and equipment have been digitized, ready for the DSO.
I will see this as a very noble project which we intend to key in completely as a state. As it is, we've not only invested in the structures, we've invested in equipments that would allow the switchover much more within the time frame.
Several switchover deadlines have been missed, but the government's renewed vigor has given impetus to the process. Nigerians now anticipate that the digital train will stop next in their domain.
Let's talk flooding once again because of its seriousness. The rainy season in Lagos is usually characterized by a myriad of challenges. Week-long rainfall in the metropolis, for instance, worsened on Saturday, leaving rather dramatic effects in its wake. Jennifer Igwe in this report takes a look at the perennial flooding in Lagos and efforts by the state government to ensure casualties are not recorded.
The Nigerian Meteorological Agency had earlier warned that there will be extended rains of 3 to 8 days for areas around Adamawa, Ogun, Edo, Niger Delta, and low-lying areas like Lagos. Did the state make strategic plans to this effect?
We have enough canals to make it go back. If not, they will still be all over the place.
The canals are functional, highly functional.
Although efforts were made by the state government to clear drainage channels, expand and build new ones, some Lagosians insist nothing was done, for instance, to safeguard them from being clogged by waste materials caused by wrong disposal of refuse by residents.
Since about 2 years ago, they haven't cleared this canal. 2 years ago. We cannot probably have officers that will be looking after each drain. The people of an area should own their area.
In year 2010 and 2011, the state recorded flood disasters. Lives and properties were lost. As a result of this, the state government intensified efforts to nip the state's perennial flood challenge in the bud to prevent more havoc. The impact of this was evident in year 2012. This is because when many states in Nigeria were ravaged by floods, Lagos had minimal cases. The flood management initiative continued in year 2013 and subsequent years. In recent times, however, the drainage channels seem to be overwhelmed by continuous downpour.
We are monitoring and managing issues as they come, and we are just telling them that it's a global phenomenon. When the tides are high, this hard force will not go in there. When they are too high, water starts coming in.
In Lagos, Jennifer Igwe, NTA News.
Sensitization of Ogoni communities cleanup project continues. Let's join Diba Barry in Port Harcourt, who is standing by with details of this and other stories. Hello, Diba.
Good evening, Ogechi Paul, and welcome to Port Harcourt. The Nigerian Navy ship Pathfinder NNS Port Harcourt has restated its determination to end all forms of illegal oil deals and economic sabotage of Nigeria's economic resources. This assurance came as the command handed over another vessel, the Blessing, a badge, and 5 suspects to the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission EFCC for alleged involvement in alleged oil deal. Kingsley Major reports.
The Nigerian Navy is making more discoveries and arrests of those who allegedly connive with oil bunkers to defraud the nation using their vessel to move illegal products out of the state. This formal handover of the vessel and the suspects would pave the way for the EFCC further investigation and possible prosecution.
One of the patrol elements of the Nigerian Navy ship Pathfinder, which is also a task group under the Operation Delta Staff, interdicted and arrested a vessel, MV The Blessing, for illegal transshipment of suspected illegally refined AGO from a barge Garen, laden with about 300,000 liters of suspected illegally refined AGO.
We have partnered with Nigerian Navy, the Operation Delta Safe, since the coming of the operation on board here, have turned a new leaf. However, we have to follow the nitty-gritty of ensuring that the evidential proof we have can ground a conviction.
Meanwhile, some business operators at Abonima Wharf have commended the Nigerian Navy for its continual surveillance of the waterways in the state. In Port Harcourt, Kingsley Amaju, NTA News.
Nigerian journalists have been tasked to be factual, objective, and report all sides of the news towards a better informed society. This was the first of a conference organized by the Department of Linguistics and Communication Studies, University of Port Harcourt. Vivian Eziadife tells us more.
The conference is aimed at sensitizing all media practitioners, scholars, and media students on the need for professionalism and maintaining ethical standard in news reporting. The Vice Chancellor of University of Port Harcourt, represented by Professor Femi Shaka, commended the Department of Linguistics and Communication Studies for collaborating with media practitioners in the field to bring up graduates that are ready to practice.
The need for members of the academia to continually remind practitioners in the field for the need for integrity whatever we do.
There's need to establish a standard of integrity
which will help the journalist to do his job for the greater good of the nation.
We are calling all media owners in Nigeria and Rivers State that they should, journalists they employ, they should be able to pay them. When they pay them, they empower them and give them the necessary materials, then we are sure that integrity will be very, very sure.
The theme of the conference, Integrity in Reporting, will help journalists to find a pathway and right method to do their work professionally. In Port Harcourt, Vivian Izadefe, NTA News.
Nigerian Union of Teachers, the Akwa Ibom State Wing, has joined its counterparts nationwide to reject that primary school teachers should be managed and funded by local government areas as part of their autonomy. Imo Itumudo reports that the protest, which took the form of a rally, terminated at Government House Gate, where they presented their position on the ongoing deliberation of local government autonomy at the National Assembly.
The proposed full autonomy to be granted local government areas in the country includes leaving the management of primary school in the hands of the local government areas, and the teachers, speaking through their chairman, Comrade Tumukpong, say no to the proposal.
In wanting to give autonomy to local government households, remove the funding and management of primary education.
The representative of the Akwa Ibom State Governor and Secretary to the State Government, Sir Etekamba Umoren, promised to deliver their message to the appropriate quarters. In Uyo, Imo Itimodo, NTA News.
The hydrocarbon pollution remediation project has sought the support and cooperation of poor community in Gokana local government areas so that the UNEP recommendation on the cleanup exercise of Ogoni land will be implemented successfully. The intervention agency team said the exercise is for the good and benefit of the people. Vivian Eziadefe reports.
The chief of the coordinator of HYPREP, Francis Wasa, while explaining to the people of Bo in Gokana local government area, said some of the remediation measures put in place to improve their livelihood include a short and long-term solution of resuscitating water facilities, a detailed health impact assessment of the people, and adequate training for women and youth.
We have received a lot of proposals from companies who want to come and participate in the cleaning. But we will not just sit down and take them like that, like and sinker. We want to test them first to see if they can perform this cleanup.
The community spokesperson assured their visitors of the community support to actualize said objectives. The actual cleanup exercise is expected to kickstart after preliminary consultations with the community leaders. From Bo in Gokana local government area, Vivian Izadefe, NTA News.
And as our contribution from Port Harcourt is over now to Gechipo for the rest of the news. Good evening.
Dimabare there. To sustain the present relative peace in the Niger Delta, the Nigerian Navy is leveraging the collective strength of security agencies in the region for major operations. This played out during the third quarter route march exercise of the Nigerian Navy Logistics Command, Ogara, Delta State. Defense correspondent Isaac Nkuma reports.
A major operation of the Navy in the Niger Delta region is the fight against sea pirates and vandals of the nation's oil and gas facilities at sea. On land, the fight continues with dislodgement of illegal refining sites. Ogara in Ethiopia West local government area of Delta State is the host of Logistics Command Nigerian Navy. This show of strength by officers and men of the command and their counterparts from the Army, Police, Security and Civil Defense Corps, Department of State Service and others demonstrates a synergy that must be sustained at all times in maintaining peace.
We who are charged with the responsibility of securing our nation state, this is what is expected of us. To show that we have one common objective, and all of us who belong to the security agencies of this country, we must see ourselves as friendly forces. The enemies must not have upper hand in the contest for peace.
Over 300 personnel of various security agencies participated in the exercise. Isaac Nkuma, NTA News.
In the meantime, as part of efforts to improve military and civil relations, the Nigerian Army School of Military Engineering has carried out an environmental sanitation and medical outreach in Makurdi, the Benue State capital.
The Nigerian Army Day celebration is an annual event which features a series of activities. Some of the activities include environmental sanitation and free medical service for their host community. The Commandant of the Nigerian Army School of Military Engineering, NASME, Major General Adekunle Shodunke, said the aim of the exercise is to have an interface with their host community and strengthen the existing civil-military relationship. He said the free healthcare and sanitation exercise are conscious efforts of NASME to promote personal hygiene and provide a clean environment for residents of the community.
If you have a clean environment, we will not have epidemic in our environment. And if any epidemic occurs here in this market area, it will affect us in the barracks. We cannot keep a clean environment in the barrack and not extend it to our host communities.
Commissioner for Water Resources and Environment, Telumu Utse, and some residents of North Bank commended the Nigerian Army for the gesture. More than 100 people benefited from the free medical testing and counseling, including treatment of some ailments. In Makurdi, Grace Ichepa, NTA News.
Well, no thanks. Nigeria has the highest number of unimmunized children and is second country with the highest infant and maternal morbidity rate in the world. Executive Director, MPHTDA, Dr. Faisal Shuaibu, made the disclosure at the flag-off of the 2017 Sub-National Immunization Plus Days in Sokoto. Yalhatu Abdullahi has the details. Well, that story doesn't appear to be ready now. To effectively and efficiently deepen democracy in Nigeria, strengthen partnership on anti-corruption security, Nigeria and the European Union have resolved to adopt new measures mutually beneficial to both parties. The resolution was reached in a meeting between the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Jeffrey Onyama, and the heads of the EU mission in Nigeria. Gabriel Odu reports.
The Nigeria-European Union political dialogue was the outcome of the 6th Nigeria-EU meeting held last year in Brussels, Belgium. It is aimed at engaging more closely the European Union on investment, migration, and other regional and global issues.
At the moment, Nigeria has bilateral agreements on irregular migration with 8 different countries. Now, the EU wants us to negotiate only with EU on on matters of return of and re-entry of migrants, irregular migrants.
Specifically on the economy, I mean, we started with what we call the Buhari agenda, that is security, corruption, and economy. And then we added items on irregular migration, also the humanitarian situation in the northeast.
The meeting also discussed investment in solid minerals, agriculture, and other sectors of the Nigerian economy, as well as the contributions of the European Union countries during the Oslo Donor Conference in Norway, with over $1 billion to hold the humanitarian crisis in the northeast. In Abuja, Gabriel Udu, NTA News.
Let's now join our Debola Brooklyn Sunday with the foreign news.
Nice to have you join us on the foreign segment. Let's begin from Africa, where a vote to replace President Joseph Kabila of the Democratic Republic of Congo may probably not be possible this year. According to the Electoral Commission, Kabila's refusal to step down at the end of his second term in December 2016 sparked protests that killed dozens of people. This development, Nigeria's Foreign Affairs Minister Geoffrey Onyama says will violate a deal that let Kabila stay on beyond the end of his constitutional mandates.
Well, it's never a good thing when timelines are not implemented, especially where they involve, democratic processes. So it's never a good thing at all. Our president has been recognized for what he has done in promoting democracy and, recognizing constitutions. So we will do whatever we can as a country and as a government to promote that in the rest of Africa.
And a huge blaze broke out overnight at Camden Market in North London. London Fire Brigade said 70 firefighters and 10 fire engines were sent to the site, which is a popular tourist attraction. So far, no injuries have been recorded. Report says major fires have hit the sprawling market area twice in recent years, in 2008 and 2014. Meanwhile, UK's court is set to rule on Saudi arms exports. The court will decide whether the British government failed to suspend weapons sales to the Saudi kingdom, which is fighting a war in Yemen. The campaign against the arms trade, which led to the case, says the UK has contravened humanitarian laws. In the meantime, U.S. President's son, Donald Trump Jr., has admitted meeting a Russian lawyer last year who he says promised damaging information on Hillary Clinton. However, Trump Jr. says the lawyer had given no meaningful material on the presidential candidates. U.S. officials are investigating alleged Russian meddling in the U.S. election. FBI and Congress are looking at whether Trump campaign officials colluded with an alleged Kremlin plot to undermine Mrs. Clinton's campaign. The inquiries are yet to show evidence of collusion. That wraps it up from this end. The news continues.
Talking sports now, Nigerian athletes to the 2017 Commonwealth Youth Games